All right, everybody, how's it going? It's Bad Boy Fly for, and we're going to just go right on into this video and talk about this Wheeler Engineering optic mounting kit or scope mounting kit, whatever you'd like to call it. I'm going to throw up an image of what it's actually called. I keep forgetting, but this is incredibly useful. If you don't have a high-powered rifle or some sort of hunting rifle or one of those old school type rifles that you mount a large optic on, that's okay. You can just have an AR-15 and maybe have an optic like this. Very simple, and justify purchasing something like this. It does appear to be overkill, but believe me, it's worth it. So let's just go ahead and dive right in. So at first, you're going to get a really awesome plastic durable case. I wish I had a little handle, but granted, it's got a little bit of weight to it, so maybe that's not the most feasible thing. Let's get these tools out of my way. Goodness, what a mess. I apologize. I should have taken care of that before I started the video. All right, let's go ahead and open her up. Let's talk about what we got inside, starting from here. So you have these small levels that you place strategically on your rifle or firearm, and you're going to want to have your firearm leveled accordingly. I'm not going to go into detail as to how to go about doing that because it's just a simple overview, but these are incredibly useful. Levels, get tons of levels. Wheeler Engineering does include a small little thing, small bottle of removable Loctite. This is nice. I've used this on quite a few rifles already. I'm almost out. I'd actually prefer Permatex, so after I'm done using all of this, I'm probably just going to stick with Permatex. But this is incredibly doable, so if you are in the market for removable thread locker, this is removable strength. This is perfectly fine. I've shot tons of rounds down range. With this, it's performed exactly how I would expect, so that's nice. I'm going to go over lapping in a minute, but we do have a lapping extension piece right here for a power drill, and then of course we have the little lapping handle to lap manually with your hands. I guess that's how it was done in the olden days, but we got power tools now. We got Milwaukee, we got DeWalt, so you don't got to work harder, you can work smarter. We also have these screwdriver bits here. These are actually really nice. They're very high quality. They're still in excellent shape despite using them quite a bit, and I only use them for the scope rings. I only use them for my optic related purposes, so that's probably why they're in such great shape. But I also have some Steel Series stuff from Walmart, because I like to have high-end stuff, and I also like to have like some cheap stuff, to really beat up and really get in there, or kind of like my emergency tools, or just the within reach tools, because I'm too lazy to get up and get my good stuff. And yeah, you can tell the difference between the contact that it makes with the screws or the bits or whatever. You can tell just by the way it doesn't strip as easily, yada yada yada. They're nice. Wheeler Engineering does provide nice screwdriver bits. I absolutely love that. And of course, those go with the fat wrench, the Wheeler fat wrench. This is a torque wrench. It's measured in inch pounds, not foot pounds. So I did a video about the torque wrench. It's in foot pounds, so 40 foot pounds, 35 foot pounds, blah, 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 for the barrel nut, the receiver extension, so on and so forth. This is for the screws. This is more specifically for the screws all throughout the rifle, really. You can use this, not just for, optics and scope rings and whatnot. You can use this like on lights, other accessories, and mount on the Picatinny rails. And again, just like the torque wrench, you want to make sure that this is set to 0. You want this at the bottom setting down here, because if you are tightening down some screws between, like, let's say 40 to 50 inch pounds, and then you're done using it and then you put it away, well, that's not good for your wrench. You're prematurely wearing it, and it's probably not going to be calibrated properly anymore. You're probably going to knock it out of its calibration. And of course, Wheeler Engineering does provide this calibration certificate. The inspector is, who knows? It's this little Chinese symbol, I think. Maybe they got coronavirus now. Who knows? I'm kidding. So this was done in 2018. I've had this kit for a while, and it still looks fantastic. I absolutely love it. This is just high quality all around. It's a little pricey, but you get what you pay for. The Fat Man wrench, though, it's great. It feels great. It's really texturized. you can get a good, what's it called, a good grip on it. And then of course right back here, I love this. You have the instructions. Let me see. So if you turn that way, it locks. If you do this or that, it sets. If you turn it that way, it unlocks, so on and so forth. So all the instructions are right here. It's really dummy proof. And of course, Wheeler Engineering does provide these paper instructions, and I'm pretty sure you can get them online as well. So don't lose this. This is going to save your butt if you don't know what you're doing. Now, let's talk about. Oh, I apologize. I got a froggy in my throat. Let's talk about these guide rods before we talk about lapping. So let me give you an example as to what the guide rods do. In short, you want to install the guide rods on your scope mount as if you were installing the optic. And let me explain what it does. Here, I have my gun right here. My firearm is unloaded. This is only for demonstration purposes, but, we're going to be safe. So, as you can tell, empty mag. Oh, what a weird angle. And there's not a bullet in the chamber. All right. Man, I got shit everywhere. Goodness. Hold on. Let me move that. Okay, so, right here where I'm pointing at, I'm going to lift this up to your level. So I installed these two guide rods as if they are the actual optic I'm going to be putting on this unit piece scope mount. And the very tips, right here where my finger's pointing at, you want those to meet. You want those to touch, or not touch literally, but you want them to pretty much meet and touch for the most part. And you want them to do that because it basically tells you visually that your scope mount, whether it's a 1-piece or a 2-piece, that it was, made correctly. There's no defects on there. And that's essentially it. You can avoid a lot of problems with that. Now, lapping. Let's talk about lapping really quick. It's really the last thing I'm going to go over with this Wheeler Engineering scope mounting kit. Lapping is essentially the process of removing material on the inner diameter, on the inner portion of the scope ring. And you want to remove material so you can flatten it. So I'm going to throw up this diagram from Microsoft Paint, and I'm going to do my best to explain it here. So essentially, imagine you flatten out a scope ring on the inside. Let's pretend this is the inside of a scope ring. And this is what you want. So the black line is going to resemble the flat, finished, anodized surface. Now this is perfect. Now this is what you're going to get with most brand new scope mounting scope mounts. And in this gray bar right here, let's just pretend that's the optic. Now when you install it correctly, install your optic, this is what it's supposed to look like. Essentially, you want the scope ring and your optic to be making contact at all points. You want them to be making contact at all points. So now, when do you want to lap? Well, let me go ahead and show you. So here again, here is the surface, the anodized surface. Now we're going to add some imperfections. Now that kind of imperfection can be found on the surface of vehicles, on the surface of pretty much anything that gets coated in whatever. And the lapping rods correct for that. Now, the way that they would correct for that, here, let me go ahead and show you, is with this 220 grit lapping compound. Now, 220 grit, this is basically like sandpaper. Sandpaper comes in many different grits. The lowest grit is the most abrasive, the most harshest, the more destructive for the surface, so to say. And so like the lowest is probably like 80, and then you work your way up. I used to do painting on cars, so sanding was a way of life for us. And I know some detailers, some of the best detailers in the world are out here in Vegas, and they will detail a vehicle with sandpaper, believe it or not. But they use like 3,000 grit, 3,200 grit, or maybe is it 2,000 grit? I think it's like in the 3,000s. It's really, really high up there. It's very, very smooth and very, very fine. And essentially what they're doing is, again, same philosophy, except with an anodized surface, you have a a Gucci'd out luxury vehicle that's clear coated. But if you paint the car and there's abnormalities in the clear coat, you can get something called orange peel, or you're gonna get a surface that isn't as clear. Maybe it's foggy for whatever reason, and you can almost correct for it. In some cases, you can correct for it, but you wouldn't use a lapping compound. You would use a cutting compound like this from Chemical Guys. This is a optical grade cutting polish. Yeah, so this is great. This is great. This is fantastic. Or you know what? Maybe it's not that one. Hold up one second. Oh no, I was right. It's the red one. This is the more abrasive, the 36. Yeah, the 36 is pretty hard. This is more optical grade final polish. So this is more for polishing. I mean, kind of the same concept, but this is a lot less, has a lot less cutting properties. Has a lot less cutting properties. Really, very cool. So that's why you would want to lap. So when should you lap? Well, okay, so I don't have a light here, but if you had a light, you can shine it around and you can look all throughout the scope ring and the optic on all sides, you know, flip it over and inspect it, and you can pretty much determine already with these guide rods, as long as you don't beat up on them, if the surface of the scope rings are making contact with the surface of the optic, whatever you choose to you know, use, and that's it. Another thing, you can also do it by feeling. You can also do it by feeling, but here, let me read something to you. So this specific optic, this is from Game Reaper one-piece precision mounting system. This is the Freedom Reaper. Freedom Reaper carry handle, 30 millimeters, one size, right or left-handed. Okay. All right. So in the instructions here, so made of billet aluminum tempered 6061T6, machined one-piece design for extreme accuracy. Ring placement allows extra eye relief. Eliminates need for windage screws. Fast installation, requires no special tools. Lightweight, approximately a third of the weight of steel. Perfect ring alignment. No lapping required. And the reason for that is, I don't want to get too technical, but just to surmise it quickly, the machining on these types of scope rings, you know, throw in Vortex, throw in Leopold, throw in Midwest Industries, throw in Aero Precision. The way that these scope mounts are made, they're incredibly precise. It's just the whole process is a lot better than what it used to be. And and I talked to some of the guys at Vortex. I've read some stuff about Aero Precision, and you know, I did a little bit of research, and I've also seen some instructional videos where they even just say, do not lap. There's no need to lap if you buy this brand new from us, and if there's any issues, just call us and we'll sort you out. So you know, just because of the nature of the industry and how well these products and how precisely they're made, it's very likely you will not need to lap. However, if you get some hand-me-down stuff, if you get something that is used and it's been, you know, not taken care of, not maintained for the most part, maybe they installed it and there was some debris within the scope, and then it, you know, it fucked some shit up, and you know, maybe lapping would be required in that instance. Maybe you have an old school rifle and you have some parts, maybe something was Cerakoted improperly, and you know, you have that issue where you don't have a consistent surface, and you might need a lap. I personally, for my personal rifles and for the rifles of my customers or clients, I haven't had a need to use my lapping compound or to use the lapping rod, yada yada yada. It's just not entirely necessary because they bought products from, you know, Vortex, Aero Precision, Midwest, etc., etc., etc. And of course, there's better ones, higher end ones. You know, take your pick, Trigicon, so on and so forth. I can go on forever. It's just not always necessary. However, it is wonderful to have. It is wonderful to have. Now, if you want to mount these optics on your rifle, and this is the optic that is going to go on this old school A2 upper, you're going to want this kit. So you have the guide rods to ensure that the piece that you bought is not defective and it's ready. It's ready for installation. I have my levels here. To ensure that I'm going to be installing this on a stable, secure platform that's leveled properly, so there's no funky, wonky bullshit going on. I'm also going to have the Fatman Hex to torque down the screws to the proper setting, to the proper torque spec, whatever it may be. I'm not going to tell you what your optic should be. The first thing to do is to read the instructions, read the manual of whatever optic you got. So in my case, I have this Ride-On. I already went through it. I don't believe they specified, but I'm pretty sure I know what torque setting it should be. And then, of course, you also have included with this the the thread locker. For those who don't understand, because I've been reading complaints on the internet about, scope rings and this screw, or not scope rings, but like screws coming undone, yada, yada, yada. It's because you're not using thread locker. When you fire a weapon like this, it's incredibly violent. The whole machine is vibrating. Your whole body is vibrating. It's a violent process. And you're going to need thread locker to prevent it from coming out. These, like for example, this Magpul grip here, this vertical grip. Magpul likes to provide a little bit of Loctite on their screws, and there's a reason why they're highly rated, because people don't usually have issues with their products. They stay in place once they're installed. Most of this stuff doesn't require it, but this is gonna right here. This is gonna need Loctite. And then, of course, the screws, there's 4 of them on here. That's going to need the Loctite. And, of course, the Wheeler Engineering kit provides for it. We have, what's it called? We have all the screw bits available to you. So, yeah, you're set, guys. You are set. Again, it might be a little bit overkill, but, you're not going to regret it. You're not going to regret it. Once you have this tool, you pretty much have it for life. All right, that's all I got. Thank you guys for listening. I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm always here for you guys. I also got a Discord. Of course, I am one of the only firearm content creators on LBRY, Bitchute, Minds.com. I'm going alt tech. All right, I'm going alt tech. First I went alt-right, now I'm alt-tech. Haha, I'm kidding. I'm not alt-right. I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what the fuck that means. People call me alt-right all the time. It's really fucking annoying. I'm getting really sick of it. All right, so, yeah. Hit me up, guys. Hope you're having a wonderful day, a wonderful night. Hope you're well. Hope you're healthy. God bless. Peace.